Hello everybody, this is David and this is my review for 22 Jump Street, which I just saw last night, and I am going to tell you what I thought about it. And this is going to be heavy spoilers, so I hope you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, I hope you don't care about spoilers and that's why you're watching this. So here we go. Okay, first the pros. What I really liked in the beginning was the recap. I thought the recap was a nice way to start it. So I think this movie, you can watch it without watching the first one. It has nothing to do with the recap. The recap was just a nice little reference to the TV series. I never seen the TV series, but the recap is obviously alluding to, because they made it all dramatic, or it seemed like it was dramatic, when you know the movies are a comedy, but the TV series was in fact a drama. I also thought Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill had great chemistry in this movie together. They both really clicked, and every scene they have together, I mean, this is their movie, and they really, you need to have good chemistry between the two actors that are co-starring together, or else the movie's just gonna fall apart. Something that I really enjoyed about this movie, I liked how they acknowledged the fact within the film that this is a sequel and we are going to pretty much do the same exact thing we did in the first movie. But what was great about it was they even though it was the exact same story, they somehow made it feel fresh and different. That it wasn't like The Hangover Part 2, where The Hangover Part 2 was really, it was the same story, just in a different setting, but it felt the same, and you felt like, these jokes are so lame in this one. Well, with 22 Jump Street, the jokes are different, but the plot is the same. I guess that's how I felt about it. And that's why I think this movie is going to do really good in reviews, because I think that's how it is going to win people over, with how, even though they're using the same story, it's fresh jokes. A little bit fresh. Some of the jokes are still the same from the first movie, but they do it differently enough that it feels fresh. Like, there's a great moment when they go high, for an example, but instead of showing, how, from their perspective, what it looks like when they're high, this one, it shows what they're doing while they're high. Like, they're spying around campus, going to look for the guys that they think are involved with, spreading the drugs around campus, the Wi-Fi. That was it's a very funny scene and moment. It's like, why are they doing this? The movies are so random that it's just unbelievable. Ice Cube in this film is very funny. His role to me in this movie was a little bit larger than it was in the first movie, and he's great in it. One of my favorite moments in this movie is when he finds out that Jonah Hill banged his daughter, and we find out later that the girl that he banged is in fact his daughter. And when he finds out, the reaction on his face, and Jonah Hill's like, oh shit. it's a really great moment, especially the restaurant, and when he gets up from the table and goes to get some food, and he's like knocking things over. it's so great, man. And in the scene where Channing Tatum, he figures it out later on in the movie. Like, he doesn't, and I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. He hasn't heard about this yet, that he banged the chief's daughter. And right when it clicks, he goes around the whole company bragging about it to everybody. Hey guys, and he congratulated him on banging his own daughter and all that. And this movie. Something I also really enjoyed about this movie was the cameos. There's a lot of really nice cameos in this film that are very enjoyable. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's my favorite cameo is in the end credits. The end credits, not the very end. I didn't stick around towards the very end, but I heard there's something there too that's worth checking out. Um, but the credits, right when the credits start rolling, they do this really creative thing where they show what it would be like if the franchise had continued on and on and on, and what would the other sequels be like if they just continued the same story. And there's a great cameo in those credits that I'm not gonna ruin, but just stay during those credits until they're done, because you're gonna love what they do. The cons in this movie for me are, there's not too many cons that I didn't like. One of the things was the sappy bromance between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. There's a part where like they're having a little spat, and it kind of kind of slows down the movie for me a little bit. I get what they were doing. They wanted to, I didn't mind the bromance stuff. I didn't mind that they, played up the sexual tension between them. I thought that was pretty funny at times, but there was this one moment where it was really like a breakup, and I thought it was pretty cute and funny at first, but then it was like, I realized they could have shortened this, or, come on guys, we get the idea. We get it. They're breaking up. So, but it wasn't horrible. Like, fine, I'll put up with it. But it's something that they could have made it more simple and to the point instead of dragging it a little bit. I also thought the villains, right? The bad guys, I guess I'll say. I don't want to call them villains, because when I think of villains, I think of things like the Green Goblin and the Joker. But the bad guy, especially at the very end, the bad guy reveal is turned out to be the roommate of the girl that Jonah Hill banged, Ice Cube's daughter. Her roommate is the villain, or is the main bad guy of this movie. And the way it's revealed is, it's again similar to like the bad guy in the first movie, played by, I forgot his name, but he has a cameo in this movie too, and with Dave Franco. They're both back in this movie, and for a cameo, and it's revealed similar to that, where like you didn't see it coming, and but this one was less believable. I felt like, really? She's the bad guy? She's the one in charge? She's the one giving the drugs to everybody? And I don't know. I didn't buy it that well. I still thought it was funny, the way afterwards it was executed, and how they brought her down and the rest of her gang down. I thought all that was great. I just felt that she, as the drug lord, I thought that was kind of unbelievable that she would be in charge. Like, I don't know. That's just me. Overall thoughts. What did I think of this film in general? I love this film. I thought it was better. Yeah, I thought it was better than Neighbors. I don't think it was the best movie this year, but it definitely made my top 5 so far. This is definitely in my top 5. We still have a couple more movies to go for this year before I really decide if it's going to stay in my top 5, which I don't think so. I think there's going to be a few movies that might surpass it. But right now it's 4th, to be exact. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great film, very funny, and definitely worth checking out. Especially if you love the first 21 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street is definitely on par with the first one. I thought it was just as good as the first one, and definitely worth checking out. So go to the theater, check it out, or Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill are going to kick your asses. So, okay, they probably won't, but whatever. Go see it.